Got Aquestive Therapeutics doing an update. We got a couple big news items from this week that we need to go over. But the first one being probably the most important for the long-term outlook, which is we have some AQST 109 data from the EpiPen 2 trial. Let's just comparing it to EpiPen. So I'm not going to get into what AQST 109 is. I'll go to the back. I'll have that in the back half just because I want to explain the importance of it. But we got the data coming out, which is AQST 109 medium time to maximum concentration Tmax. 12 minutes was faster than EpiPen, which is 22.5. Repeat dosing provides significantly higher drug plasma concentrations with a Tmax of 8 minutes after administration. All right, so these first two are the most important in my opinion. Keep those in mind. Systolic and heart rate. All right, so after a single dose was comparable to EpiPen, so essentially the safety is comparable to EpiPen. That's obviously important. And the company is looking to take the data and have a scheduled meeting with the FDA this coming quarter. And then basically, what do we got to do to get? They'll figure out what they need to do in terms of clinical study to get this across the finish line. All right, this is what we're looking at here. So, what was the EpiPen study? It was comparing AQST 109 in single doses and then also in repeat doses to EpiPen or compared to a 3 milligram IM injection. Results from the single dose administration showed that AQST 109 achieved significantly faster Tmax compared to EpiPen. And EpiPen, 45 minutes in terms of just a regular IM injection. AQST 109 repeat dosing provides significantly higher drug plasma concentrations with a Tmax of 8 minutes after administration, and extensive absorption was observed. The mean maximum concentration Cmax of 109 was 465, all right, versus for one dose, all right, and we got almost 3K after 2 doses. So again, remember these two numbers in comparison to the IM injection, which has Cmax of 489 after 1 dose, 911 on the second dose, and single dose of EpiPen resulted in a Cmax of 869. Now, that's where people are probably going to be looking at this and be like, oh, wait, the single dose of EpiPen resulted in a Cmax of 869, whereas a single dose of AQST 109 gave us a 465. Is that a bad thing? One could say that's probably an issue, but the whole point of one of the benefits of this is you give somebody, you can get them to, if you can alleviate the symptoms quicker with a better Tmax, you probably don't need to have the higher dosage. And if you do, the second dosage of AQST 109, where was that? Let's go back to that, is at 3K, which should be nearly 3K, which should be sufficient. Again, we're getting a crazy Tmax, nearly half of what EpiPen is. And then if you need another one, the Tmax gets to 8 minutes after the second absorption, so the repeat dosing. So essentially everything's positive. One could say that, yeah, it doesn't have, its one dosage is not good enough. In certain situations, but this isn't an EpiPen. This is a sublingual film or an oral film, and it's the packaging's the size of a postage stamp essentially, right? Or it in itself is the size of a postage stamp. Packaging's a little bit bigger. Something that you could stick in your wallet. You could stick several of them in your wallet, pocketbook, purse, whatever you're carrying. You can have several. You can't do that with an EpiPen. That's not really an option because they're massive. All right. So company's obviously pleased. Everything's looking great. All right. That's pretty much it. I have to re-listen to the conference call to get anything really out of it, but this does sum it up. Now, the second thing that we need to highlight, which is, not a huge event. I would say but it's significant because, all right, so we to recap, we have to back it up a little bit here. Libervant does not have the full go in the United States. We can go back to our previous, take a look at my previous video on Aquestive. The company feels like they definitely have the a pathway to do with a small little trial to prove that, essentially they have a superior product, especially with the fact with the food. I won't really get into that. Like I said, just go back and listen to that video. But this licensing agreement and supply agreement for Pharmanovia, who is going to basically be taking the commercial rights over to Europe, and what else we got? And Middle East and North Africa. So license and supply agreement for Libervant. So these guys have the license, and at the same time, Aquestive's going to be supplying them with the product. So here we go. Prolonged across the European Union, UK, Switzerland, Norway, as well as Middle East and North Africa. So as we're waiting to see what they do with the FDA, these guys went out and they got a partnership. Massive. And it's a big partnership in terms of how, the amount of regions, jurisdictions that's covering. Non-dilutive financing options. Okay. This is what I need to know. Aquestive will receive an undisclosed upfront payment, as well as milestones, single-digit royalties on net sales. All right, so probably not. I mean, it'll be interesting to know what these numbers are. Now, why is this important? Well, if the company's going to run another trial for AQST 109, and they need to do a quick little trial for Libervant, we're going to need some money. Balance sheet. They only got 19 or 17, yeah, 17 mil, almost 18 million. The last, yeah, so what's the burn rate going here? Yeah, it's not looking too good. So if they're going to run something, they're going to need some cash. How much would be nice to know that they got out of this, but it's big because not only did they get upfront payment, but now they got somebody who's willing to do some of the heavy lifting in Europe and other regions. All right, so where does that leave us here? Libervant, still need to see. That's already taken care of. We're going to see what they can do with the FDA. Again, I have to go back and watch the other video, but if these guys think they can really prove that Libervant it's not going to be a major issue with the food. It's superior compared to competition. I think we're in good shape there. They got to do maybe one last trial with AQST 109. It's possible in the next year or two we got a lot of cash coming in, or I shouldn't say cash coming in, but opportunities to get some extra money coming in the coming years. So I'm assuming that I guess we'll find out where we at. We're at the. This is still Q3, so this happened. Now I don't know when they're going to finalize this and when that cash is coming in, but assuming if I'm looking at the wrong one. Maybe we won't know. I was gonna say it's possible we can get this. We'll see it, because if it happened in Q3, we'll know how much money they got. But perhaps this might not be finalized until next week or even whatever in Q4. And in that case, we won't know for basically 5 more months, 6 more months. All right, let's take a look at the charts. Not a great setup at all. I would say the length of the base here is, and the fact that we saw a bullish divergence in the RSI, which means we got a lower share price, but we got a higher RSI. That's a good sign. We got that, and then we got a higher low set in, and then we had a nice solid run there. We got a fade off it, which is, to be expected after a run like that. That's fine. Anybody else running? Oh yeah, she went on that, didn't she? Yeah, so we're back under that. So that's probably what's in control here. Faded off, obviously, with the rest of the market selling off. Big note here, probably in the long term, is that we are seeing a rise in the monthly, which is this dotted line, the monthly RSI. And when we see the daily the daily RSI dropping below a rising monthly, those are good times to see a solid bounce, which that probably happened on this day, just because it's lying. Oh, it's probably slightly below, but probably one of these days it really did dip below, and then you see a snap back at some point in the next few days, which that's in conjunction with the news events. That's the result. Let's see what this one is. I'd be interested. Yeah, that was in control. So here it is, and then every time, yeah, we never closed above this. So this one's in control too. This is probably a more important one to highlight. Make it purple, I think, or something. That's one to keep an eye out for. Yeah, she was never able to really close above it. She'd just wick and get slammed back down. So this one's really in control here for the anchored VWAP. I've been putting AQST on our watch lists. It's probably going to be there all next week. I think the noise from the sell-off, and this probably should have moved it up a lot higher, but the sell-off just crushed it, an overall market, and there's just too much big headlines. We got a lot of things from, who do we get big news from? Yeah, Biogen. They had a great run. Lilly had a good time. So got some big names that had some important news this week. So I'm not surprised AQST didn't really get too much attention here. Yeah, other than that, not much going on here. But sum it back up, we got 2 big news events. That's huge. We got AQST 109. Looks like this is probably going to go forward. And I mean, if these things hold up, I'd have to expect the FDA to, probably approve it. And we got some money and a partnership for Europe. So unlocking those territories, and then hopefully I would really love to know what that upfront payment was. Perhaps that's enough to fund AQST 109 with their final trial there, and then maybe get, Libervant. I don't expect that to be expensive in the first place, but maybe at least, getting that shot of finances can maybe expedite that process a little bit more. Who knows? Anyway, we'll leave it there. We're going to stick with our buy targets here. And, yeah, again, it's going to probably be on our watch list for the next week or so. I'm looking for under that buy target 1 if the market just wants to roll over one more day. That'll be fine with me. All right, hopefully this is helpful.